Whoop, whoop. And Lynn, hi Lynn.
Hi, and I should introduce myself because my hair is now a completely different color and style.
I was gonna say, it's like COVID has done wonders for your hair.
Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead. Hi, Kathleen.
Hello.
Do you want to approve the minutes?
I had a question
Mhm.
on them, and that was on the, I had thought Dale Hoff was at our August meeting. Am I wrong about that? Does anyone remember?
I can look it up and see. I can view the recording.
One of them was.
I was trying to go back to see, maybe I was thinking the June meeting that,
Right.
There was one Dale, we were having a hard time hearing him.
and that was Dale Scobert,
Yeah.
Okay.
which was the August
Right.
meeting,
Yeah.
because that's when Sturgis is, the
Mhm.
big gathering.
Mhm.
I'll go back and take a look, and if he was, I will add him as a guest. He doesn't show up as a board member.
Right,
I don't.
but as
Yeah.
the audience members, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and then I also had another wonder, maybe I'm just not reading it correctly, but under approval of minutes, the line add comma after formula with to be reviewed at the next meeting. Should that just strike the with? To be reviewed at the next meeting?
Let's see.
So under 2.1, meeting
Mhm.
minutes.
I'm still bringing them up. Sorry.
No problem.
My
Can
notes
everybody?
say that there should be a comma after formula and then put a quotation mark before to and a quotation mark after the period.
So quotation mark to be reviewed at the next meeting, quotation mark.
Right.
Okay.
So the with stays in, Kathleen?
Well,
It's a separate
it's
item.
add. It
Yeah.
basically it's add a comma and then add the words be reviewed. So I think however you want to phrase it, Heather, but that was the goal.
Right. So I was just thinking to simplify and clarify it, it would be add comma after formula, quote, to be reviewed at the next meeting, unquote, and just eliminate the word with.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. I will make that change.
Anything else? Okay. Does everybody approve the minutes with those changes?
Aye.
Yes, I move that we approve them with the changes.
Who's saying it? I'll second.
Did you second? Okay, Lynn. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Suppose you can do your hands on here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Okay, next, so the minutes are approved. And we're gonna move on to, what are we gonna do? Oh, the mask policy.
Did
So-
everyone was everyone able to read the changes that Kathy had suggested that she sent out by email?
Yeah, I thought they
Yes.
were great.
I agree. They're really good changes, Kath.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so.
Are you okay with them, Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yes, they're good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Lynn,
I thought they were great also. Yeah, I read them.
with the Kathy's changes?
Yes.
So what would you like there, Sarah? You want us to approve the mask as Kathy presented with changes?
Sure.
Okay. Anybody want to so move there?
I so moved.
And all those in favor again?
Heather, we lost your image.
Hi.
Oh.
Yes.
I heard your voice. Okay. So that's approved.
Was there a second to Lynn's movement?
I made the motion and she so moved.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
I kind of cut it short there. Okay, we're gonna move on to the code of conduct for board members, that policy. So, go ahead.
So this policy was approved by the city council. Bethany, do you want to give any background on the policy or anything like that?
It was really just Jeff has been sort of looking through all of our boards and commissions and trying to get everybody on the same page, both with what our terms are and whose seat is up when, and then also there was not very much consistency between the boards and commissions for things like policies and bylaws and codes of conduct. So but Amy, you guys know we've been going through some of this stuff for a while. So this is just sort of probably the last like business thing that we realize we don't have. So
Nice. It's good to have that all consistent, I think.
yeah, and then everyone has the same one too. So it's just across the board, same situation.
I also like that there's an agreement that needs to be signed by the board members.
Mm-hmm.
And when will that be done?
So
At renewal or?
no, we need to sign it now ultimately and turn them into the city. So Jerry told me she was having trouble printing out the page
Yeah.
with the,
I did get something printed out. It's kind of weird. It stopped printing up here and
okay. So I suggested if people had trouble printing or didn't have a printer that we could print it out and you could pick it up curbside and sign it and then turn it into the library.
Do we just need the code of conduct certification page? You don't need the, oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
to drop it off to the library, can we just do a drive-by or do we make an appointment or?
You can just, you don't need to make an appointment. You can just stop in and say, or you can just put it in the book drop if you want it in an envelope. That would work as well with
Okay.
my name on it, and then I'll turn them into the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the one question I had with all of this, and I tend to have this problem throughout, is that we are not a board, we're an advisory board, which by definition is an informal board.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like a very formal process for an informal board.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Most of the city boards are actually advisory boards. So other than like the planning commission, I can't think of another one other than the planning commission that's not an advisory board. Can you, Bethany?
Arts Commission.
Okay. But the Transit Advisory Board, the Parks Advisory Board, Sandy Net Advisory Board. So most of us are advisory boards, really.
Yeah, I agree. It does feel a little formal, but you know, we have a lot of different people out representing the city, and it's just kind of nice to have something there that's sort of like expectations that, you know, everyone is following, and there shouldn't be any issues. But just to have something there, it seems like it's a pretty normal thing to have in case something was to come up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a strong objection to it because I wasn't planning on breaking any of
Right.
you know? And it just seems like sometimes Sandy City Council blurs the lines between boards and advisory boards.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that might even be part of this process that Jeff has launched us into, is what exactly constitutes a board and a commission, and what are the differences. And yeah, totally agree with you.
I know that for
The
the
county
transit
does it to
advisory,
us too, so.
go ahead,
just-
Kathy, what?
I was gonna say, the county does it to us too. So,
Mm.
Mhm, mhm, yeah.
and we have no authority whatsoever.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I think he kind of covers it in the beginning of the policy when talking about, well, it's not necessarily all boards. They may be committees, they may be, so that this is a blanket umbrella coverage for committees, groups, boards that act on behalf of the city or in the
Liability.
interest of the city.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to do with liability too. So.
Well, I think it's really good to have it just from the standpoint of, well, this is what you agreed to.
Mhm.
And it's laid out so that it's already been done up front, even though many people have been on boards and so on for a long time. But it gives us that, it's not a precedent, but basically it sets the standards in the policy so that it's like, well, you agreed to this, and that's set before there's mega issues. And then it's like, well, nobody told me I had to do this or I couldn't do that, or
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just raising it as,
Yeah.
I also don't think that as a member of an advisory board, any advisory board, you are representing, I'm not representing the city of Sandy. I'm representing my community and giving my advice as a community member. Hopefully I have the good sense and taste to not cross lines, but that is actually an important distinction to me.
Yeah.
But I'll sign the certificate, it's fine, but it's, again,
what do you think about this, Kathy?
I just think we're blurring lines.
Miss Legal?
Yes.
This is, you know, these are lawyers and insurers gonna muck.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Rules of conduct, great.
yeah,
But I agree with Lynn, you know, there's a failure to understand that our advisory committee isn't a city committee.
no.
Mhm.
It's not.
Mhm.
You know, the city is merely a fiduciary to our library district and our library. But, you know,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
it'll
Yep.
get clarified a little more probably as it gets discussed
good.
and things, you know, next year it'll look a little different.
Yeah. The lawyer did his job.
Hold on, Dale just sent me a text saying the meeting ID came back invalid. I'm gonna see
Which
if
Dale?
Dale Scobert. Let me see.
Did he use the right one for the right platform?
I don't know.
I mean, you might tell
Um,
him to look at that.
Blanca also said she was looking, this was 16 minutes ago and I didn't notice that she was looking for the Zoom invitation but couldn't find it.
That's because it's that presenter thing.
Yeah, it says,
Panelist.
yeah,
Panelists, thank
panelist.
you.
Yeah, if they
Does
look-
anybody know who it comes from? Is it from Zoom itself or is it from Sandy Library?
from Sandy Library,
Okay,
and then the subject is panelist for library advisory board meeting.
um,
Mine came through as panelist. I
Yep.
think.
If she searches for panelists, that should bring it up. Just make sure that it's from October 29th, not an earlier meeting.
Mhm.
Let me ask Dale. Would it be helpful if I sent like a reminder on the day of the meeting with the link and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would,
Okay.
because it would just put it higher in the queue.
Okay.
Of 300,000 emails in my inbox.
Or in fact, just send it out that morning.
Right, I could do that as well.
Hey, there's Dale.
There he is.
Here it is.
Uh,
I get,
Hold on.
Ooh.
Here.
Okay, I have to do it on my phone. I cannot get it to work. This
Okay.
has kind of been a common problem on my computer.
Huh. Well, we can hear you this time though, so that's good news.
Can you actually see me?
we can
Yeah,
see you and
yeah.
hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Welcome.
How about
Yes.
Blanca?
Pardon?
We're missing one other person. We're trying to see if she can get in on the meeting.
Right, so I told her if she searches for panelist,
Oh, okay.
it should come up, but, so we may see her shortly.
So do you want to continue on?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Because this plugs into
Actually, Dale, right now we're on 3.3 of the agenda, the Facebook. So,
Okay.
you
We're
wanna
just
talk
about to start the discussion. We haven't started it yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
So Kathy was the one who raised wanting to have this discussion. So Kathy, do you want to get us started?
Yes. This came to mind during the forest fires. As I had to search through umpteen layers of siloed information, whether it was the sheriff Facebook page or the Clackamas County Facebook page or the Mount Hood Forest Ranger Facebook page or some other Facebook page or somebody's Twitter page or the City of Sandy page or the Sandy Fire District page. Two things occurred to me. This is ridiculous in terms of dissemination of information through a reliable outlet. And we should have encouraged the county to use the library pages perhaps as a dissemination outlet. But the other thing that bothered me is the incessant request by Facebook to become a member. If you're not a member, they push it and they push it. Every time you go on, you've got to get rid of it. Not everybody knows you can get rid of it. And since the library is supposed to be concerned about patron privacy, it seems like a very odd platform for us to be using. That was my point of view.
I would say right now it is the #1 way we reach people. Other than our library newsletter. We've got about 2,000 people signed up for the library newsletter. But of course, our number of card holders is about 13,000. And our service population is about 31,000. So there are a lot more people out there than are getting our library newsletter.
Right.
How many do you have on Facebook?
Well, it's a city Facebook page or the Friends of the Library Facebook page. We've got, when we basically can post to either or both. We generally post about all of our programs and things like that on the Friends of the Library Facebook page. But then every once in a while, we'll post a major program on the city page or a major event on the city page. So it's, I think on the Friends of the Library, I can look it up real quick and see how many followers we have.
I guess this is a bigger issue than just the
Mhm.
library. And I intend to bring it up at the county level too, but I think the city should be considering it as well. I don't
What
really,
other platform are you thinking of though, to replace it?
oh, I don't know. I don't know that, Dale, but it strikes me that Facebook should offer this as a public service to governments, and governments should actually demand that on their public service pages, there should not be a demand to join Facebook. Facebook is getting a lot of free advertising just through having that bulletin board shown to the world, right? So I just think this is an issue that government needs to think about broadly, but they should be demanding that for government pages, there should not be a requirement that, or the pop-up should not be coming up on a truly public service page.
Right. So they don't actually, the problem is Facebook doesn't truly have any public service pages. Even, I mean, it classifies it as a city government, I suppose. So, but I think it's up to the city to put that in there. And I don't know that Facebook recognizes it as anything different than any other page.
Right. I think this is something that the cities, plural, not just the city of Sandy, but
Right.
cities and counties should be pushing this, perhaps with the help of Congress. So I just put that out there for consideration, knowing that we locally can't do anything about it.
Right. Yeah, in some ways, I really wish there was another platform that had general use, but they're really, I mean, Facebook has the largest use of any platform. I mean, some of the younger kids use other platforms, and we've talked a little bit about trying to reach them there, but we haven't delved into anything other than we do have an Instagram account for the library.
That's Facebook too, though.
It is, yeah, ultimately.
And it's the same issues. It's exactly the same problems.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I would suggest that the city consider maybe through the cities committee, I don't remember what that's called, the statewide mayors, that they lobby Wyden and Merkley and try to get the federal government to say, you want to have a public service page, fine. It should be a public service page. But anyway, that's the end of my soapbox.
All right.
Have a comment on that or? No? Okay.
What did, one question, did we have referrals for resources and so on our city website? Not Facebook, but our website?
I think,
for the wildfires. I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that Jeff Aprati put things on Facebook, and so did Thea from the library when the wildfires were happening. The police department was obviously posting on Facebook about what was happening. The city website, it's much more difficult to update, and to update not in person at the city is problematic. Like my person who updates the web page is at home on a Chromebook, and there are some things that just the Chromebook won't function with the city website currently. So I don't know if there's anything now on the website even about if you were displaced, your home burned down or whatever, here's some resources. I don't know if there is. I haven't looked. I know that the library hasn't put anything up. but the city may have.
Yeah, but your newsletter has been putting out great links
Mhm.
to services, resources.
Yes.
But you know, again, this in fact illustrates exactly the problem that I was talking about. Is there are all these silos? Well, how is a citizen supposed to navigate that many silos? That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why I think, that's why I brought up the website. And like you said, Sarah, not in its current incarnation is this really possible, but that should be the hub
Mhm.
of
I agree.
information such as this for the community members.
Mhm.
And we are very soon migrating to a new website service. And hopefully when that happens, we will be able to manage it much better. The last jump was right after I first started with the city, and that jump was huge. And I think this jump will be just as large in terms of the ability to manage it. So hopefully that issue will be resolved and we can use the website in a much better way.
Great. Well, wherever you have influence and the opportunity to plug this notion, I would strongly request that you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the current website, I mean, most people utilize things on their phones, right? And the current
Yeah.
website is horrible on a phone. I don't know how many of you have tried to use the city website on your phone, but it doesn't work very well.
Well, it's, yeah, and the layout, even if you're on a if you're on a laptop or a desktop, it's like, it is not intuitive. The flow of it, and it's very, very poorly set up. Not intuitive at all.
You know what the platform they're using is?
The new one, I know the current one. I can't think of the name of the new one. I can get it though and send it out to you. It's one that government agencies use. I can't even think of an example government agency right now. But after the meeting, I can figure it out and send the information to you about which one it is.
Yeah. Does the city have like a digital department, or do they just outsource the whole thing? Do you know?
I mean, we have the city IT department.
Yeah, very fairly the same.
Yeah, no. So I mean, the people who update the website are staff in each department. So, and that's why each page is so different, because it's based on the staff in that department and how they set it up, and that's going to probably mostly continue because we don't have the money for a central communications person.
Right. Yeah.
Although Jeff Aprati, the city recorder, has done a lot of great updates to that. He's the one putting out the city newsletter currently. I don't know how many of you get the city newsletter, but he's
Very
doing
good.
a great job of trying to kind of coordinate a lot of that work. So he may end up growing into more of that position than maybe he would even like.
Well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The old business. Is there any old business?
I don't think I had any old business. Did anyone have anything that comes up for them?
I was going to report on the fact that I did write to the Library District Advisory Committee, hoping that at some point we can have a Zoom meeting. I find it curious that we haven't had one, because the Gladstone Oak Lodge Library Task Forces have been meeting regularly by Zoom. There is going to be a master plan concept submitted to the Board of County Commissioners in late November for a policy session. and then December for a public session. And one of the things that I requested that they brief us on is how they're planning to pay for this construction, which is supposed to take place in the case of Oak Lodge for a 2022, I think, is the anticipated start of construction, maybe the late fall of 2021. But anyway, that's just no news, but that's where things stand right now. As far as I know, the task force is about as dead as it can be. So,
Mhm. Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get enough of a start on it other than that one intro meeting to actually organize and have a structure to, rely on to build.
Yeah. It is still on library directors' minds. I met with a group today to talk about another topic, but the task force came up. And, we are still trying to figure out if there is a way to move forward. But nobody has any real ideas. I mean, getting 70 people on a Zoom call without a chair even of a meeting, it would be a little bit rough, I think. So.
Okay. It seems like you could do it, but someone would have to appoint themselves to get it going.
Yeah. I have a question, Sarah, regarding, I haven't heard anything about the 5-year strategic plan for a while. Are there
Mhm.
updates
have-
on that, or-
Yeah, I haven't updated the reports. I have the data ready, so I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks, I'll have updated the reports and we'll be able to go over them at our next meeting.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything's just taking a little bit longer currently than expected.
Everything is.
Yeah.
You want to move on to staff updates?
Sure. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the next steps for reopening the libraries. We've said all along that we would open when Clackamas County went into phase 2. And at that time, we were expecting it would be, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, couple months at the most. And here we are almost 9 months later. We've been doing curbside service, obviously, and we've started computers by appointment, which are going very well. I think the next step for us, assuming we're still not going to go into phase 2 anytime soon, is browsing by appointment. So probably in the next 1 to 2 months, we will have something out about making appointments to browse in the library. We've got some staffing things to figure out. We're trying to see how much use the computers get and how much staff time it takes so that we can figure out what browsing would look like and what kind of staffing we would need for browsing by appointment. I feel like it's more than we currently have in the building because we've currently only got 3 to 4 people in the building every day. So if we're doing curbside, that takes 2 people and sometimes a backup person, and then there's the computer person. And so we would need people placed around the building in certain areas, like we would have to have somebody at the information desk, for example, to assist people who were browsing. So that's a concern that we have about that. We also need to figure out some cleaning protocols, or if we need to clean the items. We have a doctor in Clackamas County who has been consulting with libraries about how to manage things, and so I'm going to be talking with her a little bit about cleaning protocols and things like that. So, but that would be our next step in terms of reopening.
So possibly, this is just a number thrown out there, 3 people in the library for a browsing period of time, say.
Yeah, well, it would depend because we wouldn't want 3 families in the kids area, for example.
I was thinking 3 individuals. but-
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm thinking browsing appointments, 20 minutes, and it might only in the beginning be one person or one, you know, if they have kids with them, one family in 20 minutes to test it out to begin with.
In terms of staffing, Sarah, could
Mhm.
the library, what do we call it, the pickup, the outside service,
Mhm.
Curbside?
curbside, could you potentially use a volunteer to be the courier in and out of the building rather than having to have a staff member do that and just have the staff member do the checkout?
Mhm.
And then maybe that would relieve you from a overhead cost,
Mhm.
as you then have to have someone on to take care of the browsing portion of the activity.
Right.
Just a thought.
So we are, when we're starting browsing by appointment and doing curbside service at the same time, we would likely have to have patrons enter at the side doors, as we talked about in the beginning when we were going to open the library to the public. So patrons would be entering the side doors and exiting the front doors. So when staff or a volunteer, say, was taking items out to a person, they would have to exit through the front doors and re-enter through the side doors as well. So we're going to be going in a circular motion rather than out and back, just to avoid traffic jams and things like that. So all the traffic is moving in the same direction, hopefully. Which does complicate it a little bit, whether it's a volunteer or a staff person who's delivering the items. I mean, I don't know if handing off the books to somebody to take out would make that big of a difference.
Just a thought.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thought. I'll bring it up with the staff at the meeting in the morning and see what they think about it. I don't know how many volunteers, we're trying to limit how many people are in the building, which is why we've only got 3 to 4 people in the building on a given day. But once we start browsing, we're going to have to be, so 10 people is right now what's considered okay in an indoor space. And so if we have 4 staff members in the building and we start browsing by appointment, say, even if we had 3 people browsing at the same time, like Heather suggested, that would be 7. We'd probably need a couple volunteers to run things back and forth. And I don't know what they would do in between.
That's the
yeah,
issue.
they might get bored, or it might be too much physical activity. I get my steps in every day that I'm doing curbside for sure. And once we start going in the loop, I'm sure I'll get even more steps in. But I'm not sure how many volunteers would want to run things back and forth.
I think you'd be surprised.
I
Yeah,
would.
okay.
And I wonder, Sarah, if the browsing, maybe you already have this in mind, but if the browsing could include the book nook, because people are in mega withdrawal, not being able to noodle around the book nook.
Right now, we talked about blocking off that aisle because ultimately we don't want to handle money. Or take a card from a person, even, which we don't have any way. I mean, if it was exact change, we could have a jar out, but the staff member would still have to look at the items and make sure it was exact change. And I had somebody email me yet today asking if Book Nook was going to be available for Christmas gifts. And I haven't responded yet. We're going to talk about it at the staff meeting in the morning and see if there's any way that we think we can make it possible.
Couldn't that be something that a volunteer did? Would be to, if we were able to do that browsing in the book nook as an option, to have a volunteer receive the the items to see the total.
Mhm.
And then, okay, here's your, and maybe that's just one of the conditions of browsing the Book Nook.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, if bring your dollars, we're not handling the money. And
Mhm.
then oh gee, you only have a 5 and your total comes to 3, great, you can round it up and put it in the jar.
Right. Yeah. So at the problem is that the library staff put all the entries into a cash register that the
Right.
Friends own. So we would still have to do that somehow at the end of the evening. So we would have to know how many kids items, for example, were sold. It has different categories that you have to choose from.
Got it.
We could make a paper sheet and the person could make hash marks in the boxes but we'd have to know the cost of the item. Go ahead, Kathy.
On the day that you allow that, have a friend do all of that back in the aisle. Don't handle
Mhm.
it at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
That's true.
But it would be a great service for the community,
Mhm.
especially for the Christmas presents, to be able to do that.
Mhm.
They can set their rules if they want everything rounded up to the next dollar, so be it.
Yep.
But
Where-
have them handle it and don't have the staff deal with it
Mhm.
at all.
Mhm.
Where
And if
did
they
the
don't want to
rules
do
on,
it,
Go ahead.
where did the rules on this can't handle money come from?
We just don't want to ultimately.
Because
We're
I
not.
know across the street at the bank,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
put my money in the drawer, it goes
Yeah.
in, she counts it, puts it back in the drawer.
Yeah.
There's a free flow of money
I
all the
mean,
time.
a lot of restaurants aren't taking cash currently. You have to pay with either a card or your smartphone. So I know a lot of places are limiting cash sales for sure, just because of the possibility of COVID on the cash.
just
Or I guess on
get
your,
away from that entirely and just have the friends handle
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, that's what I was.
That's a
Totally.
great idea. That's a great idea.
That's what I was getting at with volunteer. I just neglected to say friends. It's like it's their deal, and they probably would like to move some material,
Yeah, they
Uh-huh.
would. Hmm.
and certainly get some
Mhm.
income after
Hmm.
all these months.
Right.
Yeah.
Just have some activity that hey,
Mhm.
we're still here and the Book Nook's here, but that could be a whole. And it could even be a separate. If do you want to browse the bookshelves of the library, or do you want to make an appointment to come in and browse the Book Nook?
Right. We could release the information at the same time and set it up.
Mhm.
sounds
All
good.
right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you want to move on to the current services?
Yeah. So the computers at Sandy are going really well. In the month of October, we had 75 appointments. There are many more apartments. We still have a lot of capacity for more people and it is increasing. The usage is increasing. I think 1 week we had 21 appointments and that was the most appointments we've had in a week. So 3 appointments a day, basically. Hoodlands started this week, and I don't know that they've had any appointments yet, but I think it's harder to get the word out up there. So Jerry, if you have any suggestions for how to do that. I know that everybody who calls that they talk to, they're letting them know. I know that, it's gone. Thea posted it on our Facebook and Laura reposted it on other community pages up there.
It was in the Mountain Times this week in
Oh, good.
the library,
Mm-hmm.
activities thing, but it was included. I saw it.
Perfect. Good.
How about, Sarah, could you also do like a stand-up table tent kind of thing on the curbside pickup tables?
Yeah.
People
It's
see.
interesting. People don't. So we have the large whiteboard out next to the curbside pickup at Sandy now because when we set things on the tables, nobody looks at them. Hoodland is using a book cart for curbside pickup, so they don't have much space on the book cart even. We could look at buying an additional sign for them to put out there. Most people aren't looking for signs or flyers. You know, for a while we were making bookmarks with the programs on it and figured nobody was looking at those. It's
Lynn,
more,
could the
hard to-
Women's Club send out a email blast on that?
that would be great. Yeah.
I can put it in this month's newsletter.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
So could you get an A-frame from somebody, from a business?
I'll check on a few different areas too. The Women's Club could do it. Maybe the Garden Club could do it.
The senior club, the senior center as well.
The Senior Center.
Mhm.
I don't know if the Senior Center does an email blast as much. The Garden Club does.
Oh, okay.
Are there any, I don't know if there are regulations up there about A-frames. I know that Sandy has many regulations on signage, but I don't know if the unincorporated area of the county does, but I could look into that to see.
Oh, the
And
sandwich board things or
Yeah.
sandwich boards, A-frame?
yeah,
Uh,
mhm.
I think it depends on the landlord.
Okay.
Ah.
So I would have to ask Margaret that,
Yeah.
but I am, yeah,
Uh-huh.
What
okay.
about a big poster in the window?
We do have a poster in the window, for sure.
Big?
It's an 11 by 17, so it's
Hmm.
fairly large size. I mean, they've got a lot of posters in the window, a lot of things. So
Yeah, there's a lot in there. You can
yeah.
stand there for look all over.
Mm.
And maybe we should have them slim it down a little bit so that things stand out more. But yeah, they do have a poster in the window.
So should I call them to see what the blurb is, or do you have what's the message? You can now make appointments for computer use, or?
I can send you the language, Jerry.
Okay.
Can you send that to me too, so that I can? Put
Yes,
it in the newsletter?
definitely.
Mhm.
And,
I know, I think Laura posts to Nextdoor, Welch's,
mhm.
but I'm not sure that I've seen one about reservations for computer time. So,
Okay.
Have you
and it
put
may
that
be
in
that you just have to be really specific, hey, now you can do X, rather
Right.
than general.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. Our mobile printing, so you can print things from your smartphone or from your email to the library printer. It doesn't actually print right away. You have to call the library and have it released, but the print jobs it has definitely caught on. Sandy had 23 users of the mobile printing last month who printed 89 jobs in 852 pages.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hoodland had 9 users with 18 jobs and 147 pages. So I don't know if it's because printing is currently free, or if people, I mean, people obviously need things printed currently, and they're doing it at the library. So that's great news.
Oh, and it is free, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's currently free because we're not wanting to deal with money. Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a benefit, Dale, of not dealing with money, is you get free printing at the library.
And home printing is expensive because the ink is so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've been doing book bundles, where if you're not sure what you want to read next, you answer a bunch of questions and then library staff pick out books for you. Last month we did 16 of those for individuals. And then Monica recently bundled board books and early readers, and all the, like, there's early readers level 1, 2, 3, and bundled those together, and people can now pick those up curbside with just random books in the bundles. So, and those are going really well. We did post signs about the kids book bundles on that whiteboard, and people have actually read those signs and asked for book bundles. So that whiteboard is working better than anything else that we've tried so far. Curbside pickups last month, Sandy had 1,763 people pick up curbside in 31 days. And Hoodland had 351 people in 22 days because Hoodland isn't open as many days of the week. We checked out a total of 5,693 items curbside. So people, and that.
That sounds good. How do you think? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same as our circ was before the pandemic, but the circulation is definitely rising. Last month it was about 5,000. So we've got another 600 this month. So, and I feel like each month it's continuing to go up as people catch on and figure out how to use the service and things like that.
Learning
So,
curve.
mhm.
I think once you try to go, oh, that was easy. then
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, I think people are still, I mean, I still have people asking me, was the library open?
well, and I am constantly fighting Google. People can go on Google and say, this location is open. And people are constantly doing it for the Sandy and Hoodland libraries because they're getting curbside service and we have computers by appointment, right? So they're like, it's open. Just like Wall Street Pizza is open. You can't go in to eat, but you can pick up your pizza. So I'm constantly fighting Google and saying, no, we are not open. Because if you just do like a Siri question, hey, Siri, is the Sandy Library open? It looks at Google and says, oh yeah, it is.
Mhm.
And then they show up and then they're like, you said you were open. I'm like, no, we're not.
No, we didn't. Google did.
Is that
So-
because of the hours, Sarah, being shown on the Google page?
I mean, I have it set to temporarily closed, so that should be the answer, but people regularly go in and say we're open, and then if I'm not at work that day, I don't see the notification until the next day, and then I have to go in and say, no, we're closed. So, yeah, that is a frustration. And I understand where those people are coming from saying we're open because it's like any other restaurant that doesn't have dining inside, but you can pick up from. They wouldn't consider those restaurants closed.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Google hasn't come up with an option for that because it knows your hours and it'll say it's closed currently and it'll open in 5 hours. If they can do that, considering everybody in the country is dealing with this exact issue, there should be an option to say we're open with limited. I just had the word.
Services, maybe, or?
Yeah, limited services. 8 to 6 Monday through whatever.
Curbside should be a category.
Call for.
It does have
more
pickup.
info.
It has a pickup category, and so I have our curbside pickup hours in that pickup category. But you can't get, and I tried to get rid of our regular open hours completely, but you can't get rid of all of your open hours.
Can
It
you
doesn't-
do
it doesn't-
appointments by appointment?
You have to have some open hours. Yeah, it's frustrating anyway. Let's see. We started a virtual read to the dog. Dove Lewis is our partner in that. And we had 2 kids read to the dog last month. So that was a good start. And hopefully more kids catch on and come on to read to the dog.
So how does that work? I mean,
You
are
basically,
they on Zoom?
it's on Zoom. Yeah, the dog is on the screen. Everybody loves to look at animals, don't they? When Heather had her cat on her lap, I was like, oh, who's your furry friend?
Hey, lift them up.
That's how I get my bicep strength, is lifting them up.
Yeah, so they get a Zoom link and go on Zoom and look at the dog and read to the dog.
Cute.
Yeah.
Sarah,
the
how many
age range
people
that's
listen to the
recommended for
story
that, Sarah?
times? I'm sorry.
What was that?
Lynn, did you have something more?
That wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
Kathy, I think.
Kathy.
Yeah, but I spoke over somebody, so I apologize.
Yeah. Who
Heck,
did you
yeah.
speak over?
How many people watch the story times that are streamed or
Most
live,
of-
however you're doing
yeah.
them?
Yeah, they're asynchronous, so you log on to Facebook anytime and look at the Storytime Parents group, and you can watch the videos. So every video is somewhere between 40 and 50 views, and that is taken after a week's having it up for a week.
That's
So,
great.
yeah. I mean, it's way more people than come to Storytime regularly. So I feel like it's reaching more people. I mean, some of those people, I watch everyone just about. So one of those people is me, and I wouldn't be surprised if a few other staff were watching the videos to see what their colleagues were doing. But I'm thinking that most of them are people watching them with their kids. So yeah, that's good.
Good.
Yeah. The crafts get way more views than the story times do even. So like, well, that shark craft that Julie did really early on in the pandemic got like thousands of views, because there's no, with the books, we have to limit to a group. We can't just put it out in the open world because we're using a book by a publisher. So the publisher requires you to be in a closed group and to only have it up for a certain period of time. So the crafts can get, when we had the craft on the main Sandy page, the shark craft, which is why it got thousands of views. People shared it, and everybody was watching it. So, but even the crafts that Maureen posts in she's got 2 young kids. She's got like a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. And so she has kind of activities for young kids, and the ones that she posts on the Facebook Storytime Parents group I'll often get twice as many views as the story times do.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Great.
So, and then last month we had a mini pumpkin decorating contest for teens, and that was super cute. 17 teens decorated pumpkins, and there was a contest, and they won prizes. I'm about to post the report to City Council within the next week or so. So if you get a chance, go look at the reports to City Council to see pictures of the winning pumpkins. There was, I mean, I don't know if you will know the characters, but there's a character from SpongeBob who is a snail ultimately, and somebody made their pumpkin into a snail. So it was really cute.
Will those
Um,
images go in the newsletter?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll ask Thea. She could post an image or two in the newsletter for sure.
The teens would be thrilled,
That's true.
just
They're-
thrilled. And that would cause a lot of chatter potentially.
Mm-hmm. I'm making myself a note to all right. And then we had our first adult take and make craft available curbside. It was a collage cards. And we made 20 of those. They went like hotcakes. And there were some really great responses to that. So we're going to be continuing to do adult take and make. So we'll have the teen STEM kits, a kid's craft take and make, and an adult take and make every month is what our plan is. And then in addition to that, coming up, we're going to be doing a new project, which is going to be, and we based it on the collage cards. We're going to be, and we have a lot of holiday supplies. We're going to be asking people to make holiday cards for seniors in the community. So the Meals on Wheels clients, generally at Breakfast for Santa that the community center does, people make cards for the Meals on Wheels clients. So we'll be giving our cards to the Meals on Wheels clients. And then also all of the seniors who are at Avamere. we're hoping for like 430 cards from the community. So we'll see how many we can get. So when that happens, if each of you would take home a bag of supplies and make some cards for seniors, I would surely appreciate it.
Mm.
Okay,
So,
sounds great.
I
Very
love
creative.
the collage kit, the card
To get
collage.
the
Very
to
good.
get the I'm sorry, to get the supplies to do the cards, just come down to the library.
mhm. So we are planning to release them sometime November 20th, I think. So anytime after November 20th, you can, I don't know, we set the collage card packages out and people just grabbed them. So they didn't even have to call the library to ask for them curbside. So we'll see, we may do that for a while. And that was how we ran out of them super fast. So yeah.
Are these all just Sandy, or they also have takedowns at Hoodland?
There are Meals on Wheels clients. I don't know how many are up in the Hoodland area though. I know they are in unincorporated Sandy for sure. I've never asked how far up our Meals on Wheels. I would think that the city of Sandy, I don't think there's another source up there for Meals on Wheels clients, is there? Further up the mountain?
I think your Meals on Wheels goes to Alder Creek and then ours picks up at Alder Creek
Oh, okay.
and goes up technically to government camp.
Copy.
Mhm.
They probably have about 15 people. on there.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know who to contact to get
Ella.
and ask them if they
Ella.
wanted cards? And
Ella Vogel.
okay.
At
And she's at
Hoodland.
she's at the senior center, is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. I think the Avamere are the only two facilities in the area. Is that true? Group facilities?
Cascadia.
Cascadia is an Avamere now.
Oh,
Mm.
There's Avamere Sandy and Avamere Cascadia.
Oh,
Hmm.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I searched and didn't see anything up further up the mountain in terms of a group facility, so. Which makes sense.
No,
Most group facilities are gonna be in a town. And
Yeah,
most of them
there's-
want medical, services nearby and things like that, so.
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
other questions about our current services?
Heather, did you have a question or I saw you raising your hand.
I did have a question to jump back to Sarah with the read to a dog. What's the
Mhm.
age range on that, please?
It's basically, I mean, we don't give it a specific age range. We say struggling readers who need practice in, reading to a dog. You don't get any negative feedback. It's all just hanging out with the dog, right? So it's basically struggling readers who need practice.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Great. Okay. Is there anything else? No?
Good job, Sarah and staff.
Thank you.
Very creative. Yeah. I'm always amazed all the stuff coming out of this virus.
We're trying.
I
We're
know.
trying.
Yeah.
I know it's a tough time for everybody. And we regularly get emails asking why we're not open that I respond to. And, one of them said, I know you have curbside service and computers are booked by appointment, but what about everything else? And so I listed all of the services that we currently have. You can get an e-card if you don't have a library card currently, and you can check out items, and you can, the book bundles and mobile printing. And, at the end of the email, I said, is there a service that you don't see here that you would really like? We'd be happy to consider it. And they just wrote back and said, thank you for all the information, and they are, people are in all different places with the virus, right? So, one person was like, well, I don't understand why people aren't safe in a government facility, but they're safe in like a restaurant. And I'm like, I don't know that anybody's safe anywhere, you have to weigh your choices, right? And figure out what's best for you. But But I've basically said, there's no, with a restaurant or a store, they have an economic incentive to open. They need to have a livelihood. They need to keep their family fed and clothed and, have shelter. But government agencies, we don't have that same economic incentive. So we can be more creative with how we give service to people so that we're not putting people at risk as much. So,
Risk to the benefit. I mean,
yeah.
take the risk for the benefit of feeding your family. Or,
Mm-hmm.
I do think the plan for browse by reservation is really good though, because I had heard from someone who was asking about library services, and I was doing what you were doing, listing what you could do, and they went, yeah, but I just like to browse the shelf.
Yeah, I know.
I think that'll be a great idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you can kind of push it, Sarah, that the browse, until the browse in person is actually instituted and offered,
Mhm.
that the current offering equivalent is the book bundle.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's how we've been marketing it a little bit.
Just browse.
Yeah. Anybody who says, I don't know what to read, but I want to get something, we're like, fill out the book bundle form. That will get you 5 items, and you'll see if you find a new author you like, or they may all be total duds. Who knows? But the staff are pretty good at picking things out for people when they do the book bundles. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback about the book bundles.
Kind of the same. It mirrors browsing. I mean, I'm sure people go in and pick out 5 books and bring them back next day. It was a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
You have to keep looking for the silver lining in this adventure.
Yes.
So, well, if there's nothing else, we can adjourn the meeting.
Mhm. I'm
Okay.
thinking that we probably wouldn't meet in December unless I had something come up as an emergency. So I would think our next meeting would be in January. So I will just kind of plan on that. Let me see what.
Does that mean, Sarah, that LDAC's not going to have any reports from directors until then?
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain. I think most directors have not done their reports yet. Which I don't blame them. It's been a tough time. I mean, we're trying to just, we're barely keeping our head above water day to day. So I'm not too surprised that they're not getting those bigger picture things done. So our next meeting would be January 6th.
Okay. Okay. And do you want everybody to turn in the code of conduct page?
Please. And does anyone, if you want it printed, you can call the library, and I will have a few copies available if you want to just come in and sign one and hand it back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Starting probably not tomorrow, but starting on Friday. How about?
Okay. Gail, you weren't in the meeting on that. If you look at the agenda, there's the
Mhm.
code of conduct. Did you have a chance to look at that?
I did.
On the very last page,
Yeah.
it's asking you for your signature that you read it.
Yeah.
If you can turn that in.
I will.
Thank you.
So
Glad
Sarah,
to.
assuming that I have actually printed this off, I was trying to do it during the meeting, so I think we'll see. If I'm driving through tomorrow, what's my process?
You can just put it in one of the book drops if you want to put it in an envelope and put my name on it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Hope everybody has a cozy holiday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry.
Safe and small.
Yeah.
With masks.
And maybe we'll recognize each other walking down the street sometime. I don't know.
So this is probably my last meeting with all of you as the council liaison.
Oh, yeah.
I will miss everyone and hopefully get to work with you again in the future.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for your
Bethany.
presence,
Thank you.
Bethany.
Thank you for your,
Yeah, thank you.
coming. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Everybody. Bye, everyone.
bye.
Bye.
Take good care.